So ladies and gentlemen, let me formally invite you today to our Global Chamber Dhaka Young Global Leaders event, which we are going around with the theme of how to be tomorrow's change makers. And everyone in this room, especially the to-be change makers, and especially our panelists, have been change makers in their own ways in different fields. And that's what we're going to learn about today. We're going to understand in this roundtable Globinar about how we can have a bigger global impact. Now, these young people who are going to be speaking today have all been successful. Now, we're going to ask them to eye more success. And we're going to request from them strategies and the tips that they have for us to be better, for us to achieve, to be on a higher level playing field, for us all to grow as a global tribe across metros and across borders. So we want to collaborate for success. So before we go on, I would just like to go over the house rules formally for everybody. We know that this is a meetups format and not just a webinar format. We want all of you to engage. So today's program is segmented into a few parts. Firstly, we will have an 8-minute presentation from each of these leaders in numerous formats. During this time, the total of 48 to 50 minutes, you are requested to keep your microphones on silent. Please keep your microphones on silence. We would love to see your videos. It's always good to see amazing faces and smiles and interactions. Secondly, if you do have any questions, any comments, please introduce yourselves in the chat box and please write them over there. Engage your network. We will have room for breakout sessions, and we'll put you into a breakout room with each of these global leaders after the individual speaking time is over. You can then, of course, ask questions, but again, let's be respectful and all keep space for one another, right? So without further ado, I would like to welcome everyone, the CEOs, the professionals, the executives, and the students from all across the Americas to South and Southeast Asia. Welcome to our YGL event. So let me actually get you to introduce to these amazing young leaders. So first of all, we have Ornella Gunasekere from Sri Lanka. Hi, Ornella. Then we have Farzeen Ferdas Alam from Bangladesh. Thirdly, joining us today is Arjun Vaidya from India. Afterwards, we have Khan Muhammad Sakiful Alam, a Bangladeshi who is currently in Singapore. Joining us all the way from Europe is Katerina. And finally, to finish off our panel, we have Brad Namdar. Hi, Brad. Great. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the first of these sessions. I will be speaking to the first 3 of these extraordinary leaders, and then I'll hand it over to Doug to speak to the rest 3, right? So the first lady on the hot seat is Ornella Gunasekere. Hi, Ornella, how are you doing today?
Hi, Mohammed. I'm doing very well. Thank you. And let me start off by thanking you, Global Chambers, and everyone that's in your team for the privilege and the honor of being a part of such an amazing event and panel. And I'm very grateful to be here and to have this opportunity. So thank you, Mohammed.
So let me tell a little bit about Ornella. First of all, we are privileged you're here. And this is going to be such a long list, but I'll try to make it compact. So I've known Ornella for, I think, the better of 13 or 14 years now. And she's my sister from the other mother in Sri Lanka. But more than that, she has been Miss Grand Sri Lanka. She has been Miss Supranational Sri Lanka and in the top 3 of Miss Supranational worldwide. And she has been Miss Universe Sri Lanka and is the current reigning Miss Universe. And she is actually also a Miss Congeniality from the Miss Universe Worldwide competition. Furthermore, Ornella is a climate change advocate. She works with mental health and she's also a volunteer teacher. Ornella, do you have anything more that I need to add? I mean, I'm sure you do, but let's find that out in this conversation. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, my publicist, Marvin Mustafa. I think you've done way too much of an introduction. You should have just stopped at sister from another mother. But thank you for your kindness.
Excellent, Ronaldo. So let's get to know a little bit more about your journey so far. Right? Could you tell us about both your professional and your personal journeys that has gotten you to this point in life?
Oh boy, okay. I'm going to have to give the backstory because it's due to that my entire life was sort of this unpredictable journey that just happened and I had to adapt, which is a key feature that I feel every human should kind of embrace, adaptability. At the age of 13, I had a fall and I discovered that I had a serious spine condition. So I had to be pulled out of school and my life just turned 180. I had to get into a brace. Fast forward, I needed surgery because I was facing paralysis. I couldn't feel my left leg. I was literally stuck to a bed and shuffling between my bathroom and my room. My doctor told me life is either be paralyzed or you could not, or you could just pass away. So my future looked very bleak, and my circumstances were that was it. It was very limiting, and all he told me was no, no, no. But I knew everything in me was there was a fire, and I had to push through all those circumstances. Fast forward, I'm 29 now. My life actually began only at 23 after my second surgery, when I got rods and screws inserted into my lower back. And all these pageants that Maimun shared about was my journey of empowering myself, building confidence in my body, my mind, because that just threw me off completely. And I started volunteering from a young age because everything I faced, I felt stronger as a person the more I contributed to my immediate society, especially with children. Anything I learned, I went to a school or many schools and I tried to teach them life skills, coping mechanisms, and just how to be happy. But I discovered that they ended up teaching me. I don't want to focus on a professional kind of agenda because, yes, that would be my way of earning, a living. But I earned a life, as cliched as that is, through these experiences. And yeah, I tried to, I hope I put it in a nutshell.
Thanks so much. Very inspiring, Ronaldo. I think what I need to then ask you is, I mean, you do work in an industry, that exposes people to a lot of the limelight and a lot of public scrutiny, right? And this is true for a lot of professions, sports, entertainment. So, how would you actually say, what does it take to succeed in this world of high fashion and entertainment? And also, not let it go to your head.
Working as a model, you need to be flexible. There are, every industry, like you said, has their pros and cons. But what I've identified are my core values, and no matter how attractive an opportunity presented itself, I had to ensure that it was in line with what I believed, not just for myself, but for my community and the world. So if there were things that I didn't agree with, then I would let that opportunity go because I had to know that I needed peace of mind at the end of the day. It's very intense, high pressure. Modeling and pageantry is not just those sparkly, pretty dresses you see on stage, or the twirls, or the swimsuit rounds, or the makeup. It takes a lot of dedication. Interview rounds are highly intense. You need to be aware of what's happening, especially if you have a platform that you're working towards. You need to be responsibly behaving, and it's not about what you can take away from the crown, but what you can empower that crown with and use that power to change the lives of as many people as you can. Yeah.
That's excellent. A lot of great insight. I think I'd like to talk about a very serious topic right now, something that you are very much invested in. That's about climate change. And I know that you're a climate change advocate. So, why do you think it's so important for this new generation to be aware of this, and especially from a lot of us in the corporate sector?
See, I know that the Sustainable Development Goals came around and everyone was talking about it, picking their own platforms of what they're passionate with. But if we don't take care of the immediate pressing issue, which is preventing climate change from progressing, and then to a point of maybe no return, it's going to affect every other goal that we have, whether it's quality education, poverty, or anything else that we've set forth as a global unit. And I guess it was further progress when I experienced what it was like. We did a sustainable fashion show because we know that the fashion industry contributes negatively towards polluting the environment, a lot of water wastage, and how fast fashion is just you wear one today, you toss it, and it just ends up in landfills. So we had a team from Nepal who wanted to make this mega microphone out to the world to say, hey, it's nice to look good, but we need to be very careful also how we treat and affect the environment, how we decide to dress. Yes, it's nice to dress good because we feel good and we look good, but that has an impact for years to come. We can't just think of now, okay, I look good, this is the end done. Even our whole entire fashion show that we actually did at the base of Mount Everest last year in January, we cleaned up trash along the way. It was a set of models who had never trekked in our lives ever before, me with my back and screws and everything. But we were picking trash because we wanted to show there's more important things and we have responsibilities. Everything we modeled was sustainably produced. It was biodegradable, including the shoes. And yeah, hopefully it was a megaphone to show that even fashion shows can be sustainably, ethically done. We didn't use any running water. Everything was solar powered, even our chargers for the phones and everything. I didn't shower for 16 days, as gross as that sounds. But yeah, because a lot of people travel and use nature and like to sort of enjoy the earth without realizing how much and what an impact they cause. There was so much trash. I honestly, it was shocking to see. Um, yeah, thank you, Mayun.
Excellent, excellent feedback. And I think that's a lot of learning for us all. Uh, we all have some skewed ideas about the fashion industry, but it's good to see that there's a lot of change that's coming there too. I think I'll just finish off with one quick last question. Um, what do you think, since you're also a mental health advocate, uh, how much role does mental health nowadays play in people, especially young people, to move forward?
I believe it's something that's more important now than ever before because as we increase our globalization and interaction and integration, the pressures are also, far more pressing. And young people, especially, sometimes we think maybe they've lost their resilience, but it's not an easy thing to deal with. And I know because I personally faced depression for many years when this health issue struck me literally at the age of 13, and I had to cope and live, and I will live with it for the rest of my life. And I'm not just saying it's a physical thing. Young people face so many things: family, emotional, mental, with their school and work, and it's a lot of things to juggle for just one person. And I think it's very important as young people that we find at least one or two special important people that we can rely on. And I know that's difficult, but using globalization, we can find international friends or support systems. And I do think it's very important that we all speak about it openly. I know some places are still looking at it as in a stigmatized way. I know that's true of Sri Lanka. We've come out of it a lot, but there's a long way to go, speaking from here. But it's what you can do every day. If someone comes to you saying, I feel sad, and you don't look at that in a negative way. You have the power to change that person's life. You welcome that. You tell them, okay. Because if someone came to us saying, oh, my finger hurts, we'll be running around trying to help them. It's the same. Our brain is an organ. Organs have diseases, organs have illnesses. And the more we talk about it, the more we look at it with love and understanding and empathy, um, that's all people need. They just need to know that someone out there gets it.
Excellent. So much to take away from our conversation today. But due to the limitations of time, I'll just have to conclude here for now. But every one of the speakers can talk to you more about fashion, any of the attendees, and of course, about mental health, education, and climate change. So in the breakout rooms, please look out for Ornella, and I'm sure you're going to have an amazing conversation there. Thank you
Thanks,
again.
man. Thank you.
Right, so let's move on to somebody closer to home right now. So we have Farzeen Ferdos Alop. Now, to talk about Farzeen, I'll be a little bit biased. As Farzeen says, him and I share a relationship that goes long back. We co-founded an organization and Farzeen took it to the next level, and it's now called Ogro Ventures. When He terms himself as an economist turned farmer. And for a privately schooled kid, when we know that a lot of people are getting out of the villages and coming to cities to look for work, Farzin went the other way round. So Farzin's portfolio also includes Fedos Biotech, a leading private sector-based biotechnology company that uses tissue culture technology. Um, he's also, I think, the chairman of and the managing director of Joico Agro Limited. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Um, and finally, I think Farzin has been working with the United Nations Alliance of Civilization with the Youth Solidarity Fund. And he has a lot of extensive ties in the UK government. Whenever I'm talking to him, it's about his trips on Emirates to London. Farzin, welcome to YTL.
Thank you, Maimon. It's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone.
I think a lot of people will want to talk to you about youth leadership. They'll want to talk to you about issues pertaining to agriculture and how we can integrate it with new technology. And also, they'd like to talk to you about social entrepreneurship. So I'll touch a little bit of all of these topics if I can over the next couple of minutes. So Farzin, the first thing of course, I think want to ask on behalf of everyone here, I mean, let us know about the journey of Aqua Ventures and the other activities that you're involved in right now.
Right. So I'll keep it short as possible. As Maimon said, a bunch of high school kids, including Maimon, came around with me, and we started an NGO called OGROW back when we were doing our A-levels. And from then on, it was an NGO, and we worked on disability rights and human rights. But then over time, with the global recession of 2009, I realized that global donor funding is going to dry out, which now is even more of a reality with the pandemic. So I quickly realized that we need to create something more sustainable. And the economist in me thought that we need to create social change through market systems where profits can drive social change, and we can't rely on donor funding, although I love donor funding. It's free money. So in 2013, I transformed my organization into a private limited company, and I ventured into agriculture. The reason I got into agriculture again is because I went around in rural areas a lot, and I saw that majority of Bangladeshis are still farmers, and we are golden Bangladesh because we are agriculture based. So I respect the garment sector, the IT sector, and all that is doing for Bangladesh, but we are still agriculture based. So we need to drive agriculture into the 21st century. And so my idea was that I can build a school, I can build 10,000 hospitals, but if people can't afford it, we have a problem. So if I can increase the income of a smallholder farmer, he can access healthcare, education for his children, her children. So I believe in the multiplier effect, and that's why I got into agriculture. And now my companies are into cows, to potatoes, to mangoes, to biotechnology of seeds, to rice, as I think I said, and corn, to just name a few. So it's been quite a journey from being an NGO to an social enterprise.
Amazing. So, Farzin, I mean, what does this term of social entrepreneurship actually mean to you? And why do you think that more young people should be involved in this sector?
That's two side questions. The first part is social enterprise is always confused with social business. Social business is something I personally do not agree with, and that's the definition given by Dr. Mohammed Yunus, which is that, it's non-dividend, that investors are not going to get a dividend. And I don't think the market system supports that. I do believe in social enterprise as defined by my personal hero, Sir Fazli Hasan Abed, the late Sir Fazli Hasan Abed, the founder of BRAC, in which we believe that you should create social change, but it should be driven by a profit motive, because then it's sustainable. So all my companies, or in my memorandum of understanding of my companies, it's written that all shareholders will get a reasonable dividend, and the rest of it will be reinvested into expanding the social impact of the company. That is different from CSR, big corporate social responsibility, because we're looking at only at entering into sectors where we have to create social impact in the first place. And with regards to the second part, young people are nowadays it's the in thing is to be an entrepreneur. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, that's great, but why don't you create some social change as well and make money out of it? No one's gonna criticize you for driving a convertible if you can help people as well at the same time.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Farsi. I think it's very important that we understand these differences with a lot of the terminologies that are very easily used these days, right? And it's a great insight, and it shows the profit motivation, which we also supported Global Chamber. I think the next question I have to ask you is, you've been a youth leader in many aspects. You're an icon for many people in Bangladesh and of course beyond. For young people who do want to be leaders in the communities, what are your suggestions?
Two things: be action based. As much as I love these conferences, this might be a bit controversial in saying this, but pre-pandemic, I became very enchanted by the number of global conferences for young people, and you just turn up in these conferences and you meet people, but you're not doing anything in the ground. So I rather see you do something in the ground. Something small, but just start. Maimun, remember how we started? We cleaned up the streets of Dhanmondi, right? We picked up shovels and we cleaned up the streets of Dhanmondi, and the rest is history. Did I ever think when I was screaming at all the volunteers, clean up the streets, that I'm going to end up in agriculture today? No. 12 years later. So my point is, just start. You want to be a leader? Be your own leader first, right? Make your own change, and then the world is your oyster, and everything else will fall into place. So just start, do something.
Excellent, man. I think the best thing to get the ball rolling is to get the ball rolling, and exactly. That's how everything falls in place, right? I think finally, I'm just going to ask you for 3 more tips, right? What are the 3 most important pieces of advice that you would give to any young entrepreneur to succeed right now?
3 tips. Number 1, again, I might be repeating this, but I can't repeat this enough. Start small, fail early, fail small. Don't come up with big ideas and big Excel sheets and business plans and show it to me, because I've had too many people come to me with those. I started my dairy farm with 3 cows. Today I've got 66 there. I started my first potato farm with 3 tons of potatoes. Today I'm doing 1,200 tons per year. So you got to start small, number 1. Number 2 is, it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's a lifestyle. Be ready to do this at 2 a.m. in the morning, pick up a call at 3 a.m., go pat your cows at 4 a.m. It's a lifestyle. You have to embrace it. And number 3, your first ideas might fail. For all the companies that I've started, I've had 2 companies that have failed miserably. And I like to talk about those miserable failures as much as the success, because it's the failures that I learned the most from. So if you fail, please pick something up and do it again, or else you can't cut it off as an entrepreneur.
Excellent, Farzin. Thanks so much, man. I think being your friend, I've also looked up to you as a mentor as well, and I've learned a lot. And it's always exciting to have you on board and always learn from you. And
my pleasure.
Everyone who's looking for social entrepreneurship, any ideas on youth leadership, and of course, anything to do with agriculture, please engage with Farzin in the breakout rooms. You'll have a lot more time to discuss. All right, excellent. Now we move on from Sri Lanka to Bangladesh and now to India. I think we're filling up the subcontinent as much as possible. So Arjun Vaidya, how are you doing, Arjun?
Hey, Maimun, so great to be here. Hey.
So again, all of these individuals who are in this room today, I've got to have these really big intros and it still doesn't give them justice, but let me try. So Arjun is a Forbes 30 under 30 from India, and he was CEO of Dr. Vaidyas, which was India's largest e-commerce based Ayurveda company. And they had over 1 million subscribers by the time he exited. And Arjun then definitely knows how to run a business. Now, he's also in the World Economic Forum Global Chambers community in Mumbai. Moreover, he went to Brown University. Yes, it's an Ivy League. This kid's smart. And he actually comes from a finance background. But you see, the way he started from going to a finance based, professional job, which he could have settled with and gotten a lot of money, he chose to go into Ayurveda. And now, after exiting, he's an angel investor. I mean, Arjun, you're taking every tip and tricks that's out there to, in this journey called life and the professional life. How's that going?
No, that's going well. Actually, I want to share first the story of how Maimun and I met, because I think that's really interesting. So I met Maimun when I was 16 years old in Bombay at a peace conference that we organized called Paigam. And it's so amazing to 13 years later, we're still connected and be a part of this forum. I want to thank Global Chamber and Maimun and team for organizing this. I think it's an amazing event. And I think, look, in these times, right, at least in India, we're going through some pretty tough times. I think events like this keep people connected across the globe and spread hope. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Excellent. So we're going to ask you, Arjun, I'm sure everyone here is intrigued about a lot of aspects that comes to, utilizing e-commerce for success, about running a startup, and of course, going into a whole different area like Ayurveda, right? So I think, the first thing I got to ask you is, this all accumulated in you becoming a Forbes 30 under 30. So tell us about how that, whole road took place.
Yeah, so I think moving from private equity to Ayurveda is a pretty uncommon and sort of non-cliche journey, but actually it was pretty straightforward for me. So my last name Vaidya actually means Ayurvedic doctor in Sanskrit, and so I come from a family with a legacy in Ayurveda for 150 years. While we didn't have a business, my grandfather, great-grandfather, and generations before Ayurvedic doctors. So as a family, we actually had an Ayurvedic clinic, and we had 100 plus sort of proprietary formulations passed down from generation to generation. Myself, actually, I was born with juvenile bronchitis. I was born with asthma. So I grew up with pumps, nebulizers, steroids, inhalers, all of those things. Asthma actually stopped me from having like what I would call a normal life, right? So as most Indian kids at age 5.5, I went to the cricket field and started playing cricket. But by age 7, I was sort of taken off the cricket field because there was too much dust on the cricket ground. And to me, that and sort of not being able to have a Coca-Cola at a birthday party where all the other kids were having it. I didn't have ice cream till I was 13 years old. That was very strange for most people around me as well. And I had about 13 years of Ayurvedic treatment by my grandfather. And then by age 15, I was cured of asthma. And that allowed me to start playing cricket. So I remember when Maimun and I met actually at Paigam, I was playing cricket again. By that time, I was the captain of my school cricket team. So I think Ayurveda gave me sort of more than family legacy. It gave me back a normal life, right? So I went, as Maimun said, to the US 2009 for my undergrad, and I saw yoga being repackaged, right? Other than the natural and organic products revolution, I saw yoga mats, yoga gyms, yoga apparel, Lululemon, this multi-billion-dollar company, and I thought to myself, like, that's pretty basic. They took what was Indian, repackaged, and sold it back, right? And I said that we should, as Indians, learn from this experience, understand the amazing thing they've done with yoga, and do the same with Ayurveda. So I moved back to India in 2013. I worked 3 years in private equity and finance at the private equity arm of the Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy Group. And in that time period, my grandfather actually passed. And so I thought that at some point I made him a promise that I'd do something with his legacy. And so I started a company in 2016 using his formulations, named it Dr. Vaidya's. Dr. Vaidya was my grandfather's name. And started this brand. And I said that, I want to make Ayurveda appealing and accessible to modern consumers. Like I want consumers of Maimun's age, of Onella's age, to be able to consume and want to consume Ayurvedic products, right? And so that's how we started off. E-commerce in India was pretty new in 2016, 17. Online only brands were pretty new and people thought we were crazy doing this. But I thought that I had seen the sort of proliferation of e-commerce in my investing days as well, and I knew that this was an opportunity that we had to sort of capture. Um, 4 years in, we built India's largest Ayurveda brand online, did 1.5 million orders on our website, reached 16,500 zip codes, pin codes in India, were top sellers on Amazon, Flipkart, and sort of other marketplaces in India. But most importantly, actually, if you ask me the success, it's not these awards, it's not this recognition. It's about increasing the access of Ayurveda. So we went to the deepest parts of India and gave people access to Ayurveda who may not have had access to Ayurveda, right? And for me, that's the big success, to take Ayurveda to people across India in small towns and villages at the touch of their fingertips. And fortunately for us, we raised some good capital from a large conglomerate in India called RP Sanjeev Goenka Group. COVID was good for health and wellness businesses, so we grew exponentially through 2020. And in December, we got an acquisition offer for our business to be bought out. So yeah, we handed over the business over sort of 2.5 months to them. March 8th officially exited the business. And that's where I am today. And actually, I spend a lot of my time now giving back to the ecosystem of consumer brands and e-commerce in India. So I've invested now in 14 companies. I also mentor and advise 7 other e-commerce brands, and I teach a course now, which I haven't told Maimun as well. So I saw a lot of young e-commerce founders in India struggling with sort of how it is to start off, and so I wrote a playbook and I teach that as a course. Yeah, so it's been a fun journey. I think a lot of learnings along the way, a lot of failures, sort of hit our head hundreds of times, saying why is it us that's always failing? But I think eventually sort of established product market fit and built a pretty nice business.
Excellent stuff, Arjun. I mean, I told you, I mean, I would be underplaying any of the people that are over here. I think Arjun is just another example of that there's so much that I don't know. But I really thank him for coming here because I know how busy he could be. But they make the time. And, I mean, whenever I text this guy, I get a reply on the same night or a day after. So I think this is
13
what
years
I feel.
later. Awesome.
Yeah, 15 years later, mate. 15 years later. And I think it goes the same for all of the people over here. I mean, who I've known, that our generation is accessible. Our generation doesn't have that problem of not responding, and that is a vibe that we have in the Global Chamber. And it's very important, I think, that we learn from each other. I think when we're on the topic of learning, Arjun, I've got to ask you, I mean, since you've worked with e-commerce so well, like, how would you say that, what is the best way to develop an e-commerce business?
Yeah, so look, I'll give you our experience and then I'll tell you what it is today. In 2016, 2017, we had very few resources, right? We had very few examples as well. So I remember going to venture capital investors and saying, hey, I've reached 20 orders a day on my website now. And they'd say, okay, well, the ceiling is 50 orders. After that, you have to go offline. Then I reach 50 orders and they'd say, ceiling is 100. And then I'd reach 100 and they say 200. And then I'd reach 1,000 and they'd say, no, that's the ceiling, right? So I think in that circumstance, the real way that we learned was on the job, actually. And to be honest, you have to be open to sort of taking in information from anyone and everyone, right? So they could be people younger than you as well, but knowing the Amazon platform better, or knowing Facebook algorithm better, or knowing how the Google algorithm works better. So I think for my wife and I who built the business together, it was a lot about learning on the job. But I think one huge learning that I had from building a business and sort of moving from someone who's gone to an Ivy League institution, privileged lifestyle, to someone who then eventually became a nobody, right? Starting a brand with 0 orders a day, is don't be fearful to reach out to people. I am a big proponent of cold call emails, and I'm not a proponent of like picking up the phone and saying, hey, my name is XYZ, I want to talk to you about. No, there's a way to reach out to people, whether it's a LinkedIn message or an email. And in most cases, I actually get a reply if I have the right context and I want to have the right conversation. And from that, I've gained so much. I'll give you one example, right? When the pandemic hit, Ayurvedic products were in high demand. And we have a platform called Zomato. It's a food delivery platform in India, a pretty famous platform like DoorDash in the US and those kind of businesses. And I thought it was like totally the right thing for our medicine and our products to go on that platform. Usually has just restaurants, but our products became so essential. So I found a connect. I wrote to someone in the Mumbai team, and They said, no, this doesn't make sense at all. And I was like, no, it makes sense. So I wrote to the founder of a unicorn startup in India saying, hey, I am XYZ. This is what I do. I really think my products would be great on your platform. It'll add a lot of value to people. Within 15 minutes, I got a response. And the next day, I was speaking to the same person who said no to me to list my products, saying, hey, we're happy to list your products, right? So I think learning from that is like, whoever you are, right? If you want to have a conversation with someone, there's a way to reach out to them and have a conversation. And I think today, in today's circumstance, right? Like for example, I teach a course on e-commerce, and if there is an e-commerce founder in India, my experiences of 4.5 years could be helpful to them. There's a lot of information available and a lot of resources now available through digital ecosystem, which makes actually the world a more equal place. So go out and find those resources. And the good part about these resources available through digital ecosystem are not very expensive. So I remember I taught my 4.5 years of Dr. Vaidya's at $30 for 8 hours, right? Because I just wanted to add back value. So yeah, that's the way I would look at it.
Excellent. I think when you talk about these amazing resources, I just thought you were talking about the Global Chamber, because we are so much in favor of these warm connections, because that's what we do. We have that personal touch. We make sure that people call each other. And we have these amazing resources, not only conferences like these, but so many training sessions, right? And I think it's important to be part of communities like this so that we can improve ourselves all the time. Finally, Arjun, I'll just, since we're short in time, in 30 seconds, if you could just tell us, and I know it's tough, what's the best way to successfully exit from a startup? You increase the valuation, how do you exit?
Yeah, so the best way actually is to not try for an exit. I've had more than 100 people call me and say, I want to sell my business as well when they're just starting. Don't try for it. Build a really uniquely valuable business, and then you will find your outcome. Don't try for your outcome before you start it. I got an email from someone a few days ago saying, this is going to be a $200 million company, 800 days, and they've not even started, right? So don't think about that. Think about solving genuine problems and building for customers, and the outcome will come.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Arjun. I could go on with this conversation forever, but we'll have some more time in the breakout room for people to engage with. So guys, if you want to talk about Ayurveda, different kinds of business, angel investing, and of course, how to begin your startup, Arjun Vaidya is here in that room, right? I'll hand over to Doug Brunke right now. Arjun, thank you.
Sorry, can you kindly request Ornella to check her private message on here?
Anantabhai, as we requested, please maintain the decorum right now. If the speakers can, they will, but during these sessions, please keep your mic off. Thank you. So I'll pass it on to Doug. At this point, Doug, you can go and start off introducing Sakif.
Okay, how many minutes do we have?
Well, we're looking for around a max of 20 minutes for the rest three speakers.
Okay, so we'll finish up at the top of the hour. So I'm going to speak first with Katerina, but I do want to just very quickly summarize some things that I heard there that I think are really key. With Ornelia Shear, her concept of earning a life, not just earning a living, I thought was really significant. I loved her story about how she faced so many no's and she turned those into yeses. And her story about resilience and persistence reminded me of keeping the end in mind. You may know Stephen Covey and kind of that famous book from a couple decades ago. Having a goal, having a vision was clear in her story, and it's so important to stay on the track because we always face disappointments. Farzan and his story was really resonated with me as well, and in particular, the action orientation that he talked about. One pet peeve that I have is when people tell me that they're going to try something. The word try is a little bit disconcerting to me. It's either you do it or you don't. And it's okay to certainly not be sure exactly what you want to do, but if you're going to do something, just get it done. Don't try to get it done. Make sure that you do it. but recognize, like Farzan said, sometimes you're going to fail, and embrace the failures to learn from those so that you can keep moving forward. So great stories from both of you. And then Arjun, I love your story about how you analyze the market, the way you look at opportunities, the way you are deeply rooted in digital transformation, how you talked about being a teacher and a mentor, and then finally you finished up with perseverance and keeping pushing forward through failure. All of us and all three speakers so far have talked about failure. We all face failure. The key is to keep pushing forward from that, and have mentors and support structures around you that keep you moving forward. So thank you all for sharing those things. Katerina Karakahagia is someone that I've known now for several years because of her longtime membership in Global Chamber. She's a Greek entrepreneur who at least in my own mind, I see a visualization of someone who started with a really unique business with gourmet food in her region, Cyprus and Greece. She's now moved to Sofia, and she's expanding the business across Europe. And she's now also expanding into other areas like home products. And so she has kind of taken a step-by-step approach to her entrepreneurship, which kind of goes to not trying to do everything all at once. She's figured out and been successful all along the way, and that then creates a foundation for success. So Katerina, congratulations on what you've been doing. Tell us more about some things, anything that I've left out in the introduction, and other things that you'd like to share today.
Thank you, Doug. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I did prepare some slides. I don't know if Cesar is going to share those. There he goes. Thanks, Cesar. This is my company, Santa Maria. I'm the CEO. Started in Cyprus, like Doug said, in 2011. And this was started with me doing a lot of consulting on my own, a lot of procurement and sourcing of different raw materials around the globe for my clients, mainly the food industry. But I always wanted to go back to my roots, which was the food business. My father owned restaurants as I was growing up in Greece. We had olive groves, and I sort of wanted to get back to doing something with that. So I started the company initially to do something more than just source food for other people to sell, but kind of find the unique things that that I can take out there. So eventually I had the vision that I wanted to set up this gourmet food shop that it would specialize in the best that Greece had to offer. Most of my products were initially Greek. They're still mainly Greek, but I'm expanding this right now to have more products from the rest of the world. So the mission was to find those producers that make those fine products that you don't find in the large grocery chains and supermarkets, but that are unique and have a story. That's how Gourmet eStore was created in Cyprus, and it was always meant to be an online shop, and kind of taking something that is gourmet and delivering it to the customers in gourmet packaging, and having that full experience that goes with the food without having the very high cost that one would think that, you know, if it's gourmet, then you must pay too much money to enjoy it. The idea was always that everybody should be able to enjoy these products, and bringing the best from the different producers. the gourmet store was successful. It was set up in Cyprus. We eventually created a mobile app to go with this, and that just kind of enhanced the experience. Did everything in-house for the website, to ensure the quality, to ensure that everything, the products were exactly the same, that it was the way that we wanted to portray our business from the beginning. So we have taken a lot of care to deliver these products. However, Cyprus is a very small island in Europe, and being an island, logistics are not very easy. And so expanding this business to Europe meant relocating. This is this is the reason that I am now in Sofia, Bulgaria, and being somewhat it's a great country, beautiful country, and for my business made a lot of sense to come here for logistics, proximity to my products. My producers are in Greece. I am in Greece every other day, just a short drive by car, but at the same time in a country that is in Eastern Europe and strategically located to allow me to expand first in Eastern Europe and then to Western European markets. The name change for the Tablespoon Gourmet was only because trademarks and gourmet being such a popular word, it was difficult to trademark it here. So we started a new brand. While here in Sofia, about a year ago, I started a completely new venture. This is the Smart Place Online. The company is, the niche is smart home electronics. Anything that has to do with the Internet of Things and just the future as I see it. I do believe that eventually every house will be smart, every office will be smart, every business will be smart. And so what I thought about doing was to create a showroom that shows these products, and basically someone can walk into this showroom office / gourmet food store and see how all these products actually, how everything comes to life with just using your cell phone, using an iPad. So Tablespoon Gourmet in Sofia, it has a physical location as well, aside from the online commerce. And this physical location is co-located with Smart Place Online, which is the smart home business, and everything in it is smart. So a few things that I learned along the way, or that I taught myself, or just by experience. One of the most important things is to hire competent people and let them do their job, to not micromanage. If someone cannot perform on their own, then you need to find somebody who can. But once you have those competent people, leave them alone, let them flourish, because just trying to do too many things and everything falling on your own shoulders is just it gets tiring. It will burn you out, but also it's not fair to those people that are part of the team, because this is very much, being successful is very much a team success and not a personal success. Don't lose sight of your vision. Don't forget your mission. This is important. There will be opportunities to maybe earn more money, to get bigger, but then you have to sell a little bit of your soul to do this. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Don't forget your mission, because it's what will make it worth it for you for a long time, when there are tough days or when things are not going great. Just getting back to the reason why you started to do what you're doing is very important. Training is very important, because training is growth. Keep training your people, keep training yourself. Education never ends. If there's something that you don't know, either hire somebody who does, but if possible, learn about it, because it's very, very important in building your business. That's the same thing with investing in your people, investing by providing them training. Stop looking for the cheese. It comes from a very well-known book for a lot of you, may or may not know, from Dr. Spencer Johnson. Talks about the adaptability that Ornella talked about. Actually, it's about being able to, when you hit a roadblock, to adapt to it and go a different way. Because if you don't, then you're just going to become extinct. You're just going to sit there and do nothing. And this is kind of brings me to the innovation thing. I started with the food. Gourmet food is my thing now. I see the future in technology. I don't know much about it. I am learning. I'm taking courses at MIT on smart home. But basically, and my time is off. Sorry, I set a timer, Doug. No, you're on your time. But there's no future without innovation, and I'm looking for ways to kind of make smart products that have to do with food, and it's fun for me, and I think it's not worth doing what you're doing if it's not fun along the way. So the journey has to be fun.
Thank you so much. You reinforced a lot of the messages that the previous three speakers already talked about, things like persistence and perseverance. And then you added some areas like people, how important people are, in the selection of them, in the training of them, in the team that you have, in empowering them. Those are all such key elements of success on the business side. Just as a framework of the next steps here for our program, we have about 30-40 minutes left. We'll go to two more speakers, about 5 minutes each, and then we'll have breakout rooms. And so you'll be able to talk with each one of these speakers, a few on one, if you will, so that you can ask some additional questions during that time. So thank you, Katerina. I'd like to now go to Khan Mohammed Sakiful Alam. He is the program manager, trust and safety for the Southeast Asia region for TikTok. You've probably heard of that. He himself has a specialty around data analysis, machine learning, and scale up of startups. And so really appreciate what you bring to the table, Sakif. And so tell us more about your journey, and also some tips that you'd like to share with other young global leaders.
Thanks a lot, Doug, for giving me the floor. Let me actually share my screen. So yeah, I guess everyone can see Homer Simpson up there, but yeah.
Yep, it looks good. Thank you. You're calling in from Singapore. It sounds like you have a Singapore accent.
Oh, wow. First time I heard that. So people call me, I have a very fast accent, like not Singapore. They just call it like super fast. In fact, there are times my boss is like, Sakif, slow down at times. We don't understand what you're saying, but yeah. So
picked up some Singaporean.
But I think the fast accent is going to help today, because I'm going to rush through this stuff. There's quite a lot to share. I'm going to skip some as well for the benefit of everyone. So my work, if you ask me, so interestingly, I work in the place of like in a role of a data strategist and a data scientist, and quite a lot with machine learning. But this is the interesting part of it. And resonating with all other leaders up there, that I failed in maths in school, almost in most of the classes. I mean, my math teacher was kind enough to go to my parents and tell them that, okay, this person will not be able to sit for his A levels or O levels. And honestly speaking, in fact, I used to think of math as an arcane method. I mean, it's kind of like magic that after I answer, I used to like pray to God a few times that let it be the right answer. So from there, I did my I got more confidence in maths when I was in A levels, and then got through my undergrads in business. My master's is in operations management, but then I just fell in love with the concept of data. And I've been working in this data field from 2015 onwards. So that's 6 years now. Initially, I used to be a finance and econ grad. Then I moved to operations, risk management and supply chain, and now in data. So according to my friends, I've been all over the place, but well, I love the journey so far. So when we talk about data, we actually talk about when we talk about data analytics and data science, it's a very, very broad field. So it's in very short, and I hope you can actually get an access to these slides. I think Global Chamber, if you ask them, they can give you access to these slides. This diagram very nicely summarizes the whole scope of data science. And I don't have enough time to go through that, but I would say that the skills required or the activities required in data science could be divided into 5 parts. It's about thinking of how to capture the data, why you should capture data, and ensuring that your capturing method is accurate. In terms of data storage and maintenance, which is where companies like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform come in handy. So the cloud storage, cloud computing area. So ensuring efficient storage. Moving on to data processing, analysis. And the last part is actually one of my favorite ones, communicate. So a big misconception that I have debunked over the last 3-4 years to many people who have come to me is when people think of data analytics, they think of someone who's good in maths. And yet again, here I am, who has a record of failing in maths in almost 4 classes. So it is important. Mathematics comes in handy. Engineering background or even a science background comes in handy, but it's not necessary. There is enough resources out there to self-teach yourself. But more important is the new skill that is coming up, which is the communication. The concept of storytelling with data. In fact, there is a book called Storytelling with Data. The author is the lead people analytics person from Google, Cole Nasbamar-Nafik, and she's actually a good friend. So we work on this whole concept of having that communication skill with data. So this in itself is a very brief overview of the whole area of data and the type of work that can be done. For a business, if you're thinking of how we could implement data, so there are some use cases. These are the big names, but I'd say that some of them actually revolutionized themselves or became big through data. So I'll just give one example, and due to the shortage of time we have, and the example I'll give is that of Amazon. So Amazon, when it started, it was just a book purchasing company, right? I mean, people could go online and purchase books or purchase ebooks and stuff. And yet now Amazon is one of the world's largest e-retailers. The way it became this is because it not only was created a level of convenience for people who can go online and buy something, but it did something wonderful. So today, I'll just tell you something. Just go to Amazon and any of your Amazon sites and just search for something you want to buy. So when you do that, right below, and click the product that you want to buy. When you do that, right below the product description, you'll see a certain suggestion that people who have bought this product has also been interested in this, and this. The concept in marketing is called upselling, and they have perfected upselling on a different level. They don't only suggest stuff that you're more likely based on historical purchase data of other people. What they do is something very interesting. It's called finding your e-commerce twin. So what Amazon does is based on your behavior in the website, based on your past purchase behavior, based on all other behaviors, it tries to find out. So if I'm trying to browse on Amazon, what Amazon's going to find out is another twin of Saqif or a group of twins of Saqif. So that those twins are twins who are similar to me in terms of browsing pattern, in terms of products that I'm clicking more, in terms of products whose descriptions I'm reading more, in terms of like, how many reviews I'm checking. And then based on that twin, they try to figure out that, okay, if this Sakif twin has bought this product, what is the next product that this Sakif twin has brought? And they have found out, say, 20, 30 Sakif twins. And the concept they use is something called propensity score matching to find these Sakif twins. And then from these twins, they try to figure out that which product am I most likely to buy next? And their recommendation is still now as good as actually Netflix, or at times even better than Netflix. And this is just an example of how data, and this can be for any business. For example, you can find a twin of a customer who's doing good and identify like, okay, what type of characteristics we can look for a customer, what type of customers need what type of promotion, and many, many, many other things that you can do with data. Now, if you're an individual who is interested to pursue this area of data or build your skills in data, this is the set of skills you will need. Yes, though, I mean, I'm not going to suggest that you need to fail in math in your high schools. Please don't. But I would say that you do need some mathematics and statistics skills, specifically an conceptual idea of applied statistics, which comes in handy. Besides that, you would need a level of computer skills in terms of software or hardware skills. And there I have some interesting advice in the following slide. And finally, what you need is also read a little bit broadly in terms of read or actually listen to podcasts. There are some really useful data podcasts right now. So listen to application podcasts of how data is being used in this scenario, how data is being used in that scenario, and then rethink, okay, this is being used in this scenario. Can you use this example in your life, in your organization, in the type of work that you want to do, and try to replicate that? So I'll finish very quickly. Wisdom from experience. Well, again, as I say that I'm a big Simpsons fan. So my experience, these are from personal experience in my journey, actually. So the first advice I'll give you is, to be honest, even above maths, even above coding language, the most important advice is actually the ability to think clearly. Trust me, this is not only for data. I think this applies for every one of our speakers when we are talking about it, that, in a situation, having a cool head and the ability to think critically and clearly is very important, even for someone who wants to pursue in the line of a data science. Then application of statistical knowledge. I'll suggest a book here, one of my favorite books, which I actually, to be honest, I bought that book based on the name of it. I got curious about the book and then bought it, and then I fell in love with that book. It's called Naked Statistics. I actually bought it in an airport. I was bored in my transit and I was like, oh, there is the N word there. So this might be interesting. What does naked statistics look like? And that led me to one of the best applied statistical books I've read, actually. The other thing is, it's very important to build a very clear conceptual knowledge of the models, the processes, applications out there. Now, one very important point I want to make is for businesses who wants to, if they're budding entrepreneurs here, and if they want to use data to, overhaul their businesses or move in the fast lane, the first and most important thing about using data for businesses is having a bigger vision. So I've seen a lot of businesses, because I consult businesses in their data. So about my work, besides TikTok, I also am an advisor to few data companies in Bangladesh and a trainer for data analytics and data science, and also a consultant in data. So one of the things I consult companies is actually, if you want to be data driven, it is very important to coincide your vision of the company and your long-term goals with how you can solve them with data, and have a clear picture there to start with, and then to work on a more detailed level, how to build up the departments, who to recruit. But very importantly, the data alignment needs to have from right at the top. Now, for people who are trying to learn data analytics or machine learning or data science, another real life advice I'll give you is, I've seen many people in many places fight over which coding language to go for. remember that coding is just a tool. It's just another hammer. And if you don't know the art of the craft, the hammer will not make you someone to make a big architecture. So it's very important to know that coding is just a tool, and any coding mechanism is fine. And finally, it's very important to get into real life projects. Either you start in different internships in different places where you can learn about application of data, or there is a lot of online projects out there in Kaggle, in Data World, in Data Monday. Then I think there are many other websites there where you can actually find data related projects. And a lot of times experiential learning beats anything else, at least in the field of data. So that's a very brief and very short presentation about what I do and my advices. And yeah, that's it. So I'll give the floor back to Doug.
Keith, thank you so much. Great insights, especially how you have a unique way that you know math and learned math. Everybody is different, so don't let the standard way impact you. I also love your advice around staying cool, being a cool cat, because we do face all sorts of challenges, and we may sometimes be tempted to get angry or strike out, and that's better done probably away from other people. And to stay cool and calm opens up your mind to great and new ideas, and it's clearly worked for you. So thank you very much for that. Our last speaker, and then we're going to get into the breakouts, is Brad Nemdar. He's the CEO of the Nemdar Group. He's involved with international trade, supply chain management, and distribution. And the other thing that he's bringing to the table here is interaction between the entrepreneurial community and government, which I personally believe is an essential element for any country, any region, to more than just have the entrepreneurs doing great things. We, at least some of us, need to be educating politicians and other community leaders that, hey, entrepreneurialism and making money is a good thing, and you need to be doing more to understand and support what we're doing, because we need help, because that happens everywhere in the world. And I think that's been part of what Brad has been doing. So Brad, tell us a little bit more about you and what I've left out, and then what you'd like to share today from Dallas, Texas, I believe.
That's right, from Dallas, Texas. Okay, everybody, wake up. How are you doing tonight, or today, or this afternoon, or early this morning? Because there's over 87 people here from all over. Give me a heart if you're actually awake and you're doing good. No, seriously. Okay, so if you don't put a heart up, you don't love nobody. Okay, all right. So a little bit about me, guys. So I'm from Dallas, Texas, born and raised. Okay. And I played college football at Texas Tech and SMU. They're two universities we have here in Texas. I was a soccer player too. Growing up, I was always about athletics. I thought I was the next Cristiano Ronaldo, and then no, I was not the next Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's put it that way, right? Or the Messi and all that good stuff. So I had dreams just like everybody else did. I started a social entrepreneurship called Dream Big in college, first established at University of Dallas. Whole life was set, man. I was ready to be the head coach of the U.S. national team and win a World Cup for the men's program. Yes, I was planning on doing that. I know we got a lot of international people, but I had that belief that we would win, beat Brazil 4-0 in the final. But what happened was I ended up starting my own candle company. It was a secret hobby I had on the side, because you don't go to your teammates and say, hey, man, you want to smell my lavender candles? It wasn't that environment. So I got it sold in trade shows and stuff, and then I got signed to a showroom. We grew to Neiman Marcus at Horchow. I started an art company. I don't do art. I'm not good at it, but I found good artists and signed them to my art house label. There's some art out there where you'll see like a white painting with a black dot on it, and it's worth like 60 grand, and you're like, how is that worth white, So you got to find kind of these niches. We signed Formula One. Now, during this time, our country went through the world did. 2020, I want that year back. But I started these companies with 0 loans, 0 lines of equity, 0 everything. And I know we got a lot of international people here right now on this call. And I'll tell you this right now, forget everything you think you knew about business or even government at all. Forget it all. Remember, the one thing is this: they're investing in you. Anybody who buys a product, anybody who wants to go and look for a relationship, they're looking at who you are. So the number one thing I would say is, like, for example, when I was a kid in 4th grade, if someone told me to like shut up or was mean to me, I didn't like, have the, what would I say? I didn't talk back. You know what I mean? When those kids do that, then you get older and you go through life experiences, you'll be able to be more confident. So be confident about what you want to do. If you have a passion you want to pursue, find a way to be confident about it so that people will be convinced that this person knows what they're doing, or this young man or this young lady knows what they're doing. I want to take a chance on them. Now, I was appointed by the Texas governor. I'm from Dallas, Texas. As you guys can tell, that's our Texas state. And no, we don't all ride horses, okay? That's in the movies. We have cars here in Texas too. All right, so just so you guys know that. But I was appointed by Governor Abbott to the OSF, where we help fund nonprofits. I'm also on the Public Policy and Advocacy Committee. I was appointed by the Secretary of State of Texas to fight human trafficking. It's a problem that we don't like. I don't take kindly to it, and nobody does. The United States Chamber of Commerce appointed me to their Small Business Committee, and I'm on their committee to eradicate human trafficking. And all that, I don't get paid a dime for. It's for free, because that's called being a statesman. Now, another thing I would say, everybody here, like, I hear about technology and a lot of young people on the call, and you're trying to find out your niche, right? Well, government and leadership are 2 different things. Now, combining smart private sector people, and I like young people. I'm 32 years old, man, but I feel like I'm 90 sometimes. But having smart young people say, you know what, I got a solution for this problem that's in my area. I don't know if it's asphalt to whatever you want to do. Go ahead and find someone that you know that is successful or that is in a government entity or body, and go and do a public bid. We have that in the US. It may not be everywhere else. You might have other ways of doing it. So, but I do want to talk about something for everybody. In 2020, the global economy, and I talk about this to a lot of people. Our economy in Texas and the United States, it took a hit. The global economy did. The United States is 25% of all purchasing power on the global stage. So a lot of people were scared from all over the world. But right now, you guys are the future to bounce back. Now, technology did come out massive in 2020. It showed that the economy can still work maybe in a different way. It could still be the global supply chain management. We will never get rid of global supply chain management. So guess what? You young kids are at the forefront of an exciting time. Get out there, go and network, talk to your local municipalities, talk to whoever you can to be able to get your niches in there. And I do have some advice for people who want to start a business. I used to get so pissed off, and pissed off is an American terminology, not exactly PC all the time, but when I was starting my company, they're like, oh, this is how you do it. And I'm like, no, it's not, or it's harder than it sounds, or you guys know what I'm saying, right? When someone's like, oh, go after it. Well, here's my 4 things. 1, know your market, okay? I went into candles. Do y'all know how hard it is to sell candles on the global stage when that's hard, it's hard, you gotta know your market, know who your competitors are. And then number 2, find someone or something or a business model that's successful and see why were they successful. There's a great example used about Amazon earlier. But guess what? We can't do another Amazon, can we? That market, it's a saturated marketplace. So you have to say, okay, what makes me unique? So you find something successful, learn from their business model, and how can you yourself make it unique or tweak it? 3rd, honesty. Don't ever lie. All right. A lot of times, and I know young entrepreneurs, if you're going for some meetings, oh, yes, sir, absolutely. Yeah, we have key accounts across, 2 different countries, and we're growing 30% this quarter. It's great. No, don't lie. It's okay to be new. I mean, a lot of young entrepreneurs, I've helped start 20 companies here in Dallas, Texas, and I don't charge a dime. I don't want a dime from them. But what I don't want is them to lie to me and say, oh yeah, I'm in 20 retail stores. No, you're not. You're in your mom's house store or whatever, you know? So it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to need help. Remember that. And the last thing is a starting capital, which is how do I get that money to start my business? Well, okay, here's one thing. In the United States, we have banking systems where we have to fix some things, but save money. And I will never tell you to sacrifice a job if you do not have the finances to live on it. You got to work twice as hard. When I started my company, if it was a 16-hour workday, that was a short workday. So know that right now is the time, especially this new chapter in our country and a new chapter in the entire world, for you guys to take advantage of it and make your niche. Get out there, make a niche in it. I mean, we even now have what cryptocurrency that people are doing. Like, it's crazy. So this is the time for y'all as entrepreneurs to get after it. And I want to see you guys excited about it. I want to see you guys excited about, hey, how can I help my municipalities? Hey, let me see what niche I can get into this market. Nobody out there can do better than what you can do. Remember that, all right? Y'all understand me? Give me a heart if you understand me. All right, that's a good amount of hearts. I like that. Good. All right. And that's pretty much it for me. And I put my stuff, my information on this chat box right there. Boom. I even put my email on there as well. It goes straight to me, my Instagram, and all that good stuff. And I'll probably also running for office too one day here to help our next generation, because it's up to all of y'all too to also be the leaders of the next generation as well. You understand? All right, all right, all right. Thank you, guys.
We understand. I hope everybody does too. The importance of.
Back to you, Doug, at the Global Chamber headquarters.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. I know, Maimon, are you there?
Doug, I'm here.
Very good. So I know we're running over. The good news, though, is that we've got a lot of the folks that joined us at the beginning have hung on, and I think that what that tells us is they want to be part of the breakout sessions, and so I would suggest the rest of our time be focused in on that, so that we can let everybody chat with each one of the speakers. Really fascinating, select a group of leaders that we have today, and so I turn it over to you, Maimon, for that next step.
Sure, Doug. Just before we do so, could we turn everyone's video off so that we can take a group picture? Could everyone turn their videos on, please? Cesar, tell us whenever you're ready.
Everybody turn on their video.
Yes.
Was that what you're saying?
Turn on the videos, guys. Sorry about that. I'm getting too excited ahead of myself.
Your videos.
Everyone, please turn on your videos. We're just going to take a group picture with all of you.
Are you taking the picture, Maimon?
Cesar, why don't you take one from your end?
Okay. I'm going to take the picture now. I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, and 3.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Very good. So, Maimon, on the next step, what are you imagining? How many minutes for the breakout? Just so people know.
Doug, we're going to just talk about the Global Chamber very briefly, if that's all right.
Yeah, I would keep it very brief so
very
that we
brief.
can get right to the
very brief.
Right to
and we'd like to keep it a minimum of 10 minutes for the breakouts, and then come back to over here.
Okay.
Cesar, can you just cast the deck? Thank you again, everyone, for staying on for so long. Keeping 80 plus people in a room for 1.5 hours, I think, shows the value of the people that are here today. So we'd like to let you know about what the Global Chamber is, and we talk about our motto, which says that we are global and unstoppable. We're unique because we're the only organization that works with cross-border business in 525 metro regions in 195 countries around the world. We're everywhere. This is our next slide. So what do? We give you new opportunities to the best firms, clients, partners, and growth resources. These are our mission and vision. In a very simple world, we see that our vision is a world where it's as easy to do business like across the street as just as easy across regions. We do not believe in any form of discrimination. We are an organization that stays away from any kind of politics apart from trade. We were just founded in 2015. We've grown to 150 metros in a year. And right now we're growing to 525 metros. That's our growth trajectory. So Doug, I think says something that we can accomplish anything as a global tribe. That's what we call ourselves, but we should always focus on some business for now. We support business with warm and trusted connections. We give you access to the best business resources, and we give you real-time trusted help anywhere in the world so that you can always keep growing. We give you global reach, amazing contacts like the people you've seen here today, access to new markets, exposure, information, visibility, and you are part of something that we call the global tribe. These are some of our community benefits. I'll just leave it there so that you guys can have a special look. And these are some of the amazing people that do invest in us, who are our sponsors. It's the city of Denver, it's the city of Phoenix, it's Boeing, it's Airbnb, it's top banks in the United States like Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, the Bank of America, even universities like UT Dallas and ASU. You've got companies like UPS and XE. So why not join the global tribe and come to events like this? We have events with women in global leadership. We have the young global leaders like today. And if you move on to the next slide, you'll see that we even do metro meetups where you can engage with specific metros. So it's connections, it's about getting businesses done, and it's about a vision in 2025 where in the 525 metros, we now have more than 100,000 organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, my information is given here. You can add me on LinkedIn. It's Maimun Mustafa, and you can see us on the Global Chamber website under Landing Dhaka. My mobile phone is also my WhatsApp number, and you can reach me at maimun@globalchamber.org. Thank you very much. And we'll go on to the breakout rooms. Teams, are you ready to put everyone into the breakout room? All right, let's go for it.
Yay. See you there. It might take a few seconds.
Sorry, guys. We love your response. So just give us a few minutes, yeah? When you do get the notification to go into the breakout room, please kindly accept.
Step by step. Who is Cesar doing this, or are you guys doing it?
We've got 6 people, including
Wow.
as well as Cesar doing this, yeah.
Amazing. Okay. One by one, probably.
Let's put our YGLs in first into the respective rooms. Ornella, I'm putting you in over there.
Maimun, did you create the rooms before?
Yes, I have.
Because I think we cannot see them. I mean, we're all co-host, but we cannot see what you've done. So you probably have to manage.
No worries. I'm putting the YGLs into the rooms. Siddharth, do you see the rooms now?
I see them.
Everyone, can you please start putting people in the rooms? Amreen, Disha.
Yeah, doing it.
Are we there yet? Or are we still in the
Everyone's
big
getting
room?
there, Doug. Yeah. The white
Okay,
jails are in the rooms.
Still in the big room. Got it.
Let me put Doug in.
Sorry, everybody. I guess this didn't go as exactly as planned, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. They're going one by one. So Zoom has some room to improve on planning the breakout rooms, I believe.
Teams is
We-
much better on this, actually.
We talked about patience in the conversations. Life is a balance of patience and pushing. And sometimes it's better just to be patient.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And it looks like it's starting to happen. See you, everybody.
Everyone, if you received a request, please join into the room.
Yes, bhai, everyone is assigned to breakout rooms, I guess. No one is left.
Assalamu alaikum, Caesar. Shubho. Hello, Shubho.
Akib, can you hear me?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ আমি আমারটা ব্রেকআউট রুম মিস হয়েছে কোথায় যাব ব্রেড রুমের ব্রেকআউট রুমে ব্রেকআউট
Success from Amrin Shutto, so it is not there.
আমাকে একটু পাঠাই দাও তো যাতে ব্রেকআউট রুমে ব্র্যাড নাম দাও
Thank you, everyone. So how was the session? Did you like the breakout rooms? Had some good engagement?
Yes, but
It was
due to
amazing.
time limit, we could not complete our conversations.
Well, hopefully you can network with these YGLs, and you can keep in touch with them, and of course keep the conversation flowing. How's that?
Sure. Thank you.
I'd just like to make a small announcement at this point. From Global Chamber, we do want to start a regional Young Global Leader Advisory Board, especially for South Asia, so that we can work with the other YGLs from all over the whole world, comprising of amazing leaders like these and more. So we'll extend that call to all of you, so that we can work for better business, for better work, and for, of course, doing service to our own countries and the community at large. I'd like to finish off today with our certificate distribution ceremony. First of all, thank you for staying the extra 30 minutes. I think having 55 people at the end of 2 hours speaks a lot for itself. So that's an average event sometimes, in most of the cases. So thank you again. Cesar, can you just share the deck? While that's being shared, Doug, on behalf of Global Chamber, first of all, we'd like to give over this certificate to Katerina. Cesar, can you take the picture? Katerina, thank you very much.
I need to see Katerina. I see her. Okay.
Congratulations, Katerina.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, smile, Katerina. Gotcha. Thanks.
Thank you, Cesar.
Or next, I think Arjun had to leave a bit early. He had another engagement, but we thank him for being with us. Sakib Bhai. Do we have Sakib Bhai with us?
Yep, here I am.
Always insightful, always with a lot of knowledge. So thanks a lot again for coming here and having this session. So we take a picture with Sakib Bhai. Cesar.
Sorry, I was mute. Second for the smile. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for inviting me, Maman.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to more collaborations.
And
of course, to Ornella. I think I have to make a special mention here, because when you start off the event, and if you have to keep quiet and patient and keep on smiling like Ornella has, that takes an extra level of patience. So thank you so much. Ornella, it's always a pleasure to have you. I know you were supposed to be in our Lead for IR event earlier last year, which had to get canceled because of COVID. But I'm so happy you could make it online today. So one smile and one photo with Ornella.
Thanks, Ornella.
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored to have had this opportunity.
Brad, thank you for just livening everybody up, man. If anybody was sleeping, that was one engaging session, and that was an energizing session. Thanks so much for coming here, man.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. It was a pleasure. Would I have to smile?
Well, we like that.
No.
Up to you.
1, 2, 3, go. Thanks. Perfect.
Did you take a picture with your horse too?
Yeah, I got a cowboy hat if you want to put one on.
Well, as long as you're a Man United fan, I'm all good. Madrid will work too.
Sure.
All right, finally, Farzeen.
Yeah, I'm here.
Mate, do we have you with us? Thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was great.
Hey, done. Thanks.
Excellent. So I think that's it for us over here. We hope you do stay on with our next event. There are a lot of things coming in. Cesar, do we, what's the next thing on the Global Chamber calendar?
Oh, we have plenty of events this month. I think the next one is going to be San Francisco meetup later today with Doug. And we're having the several Globinar. Sorry, I'm getting a call right now. But I invite you. I'm going to put the link of the calendar in the chat box. So you can take it.
One of the interesting ones is a entrepreneurial program that we're doing in Manila that is a Global Entrepreneur Program. I think it's called GEP, and it's once a week. The next one is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Manila time. So those of you in Asia, it's free, it's online, and tomorrow is about digital technology. It's 10 weeks long. I believe it's week 4 that we're in, but it's a variety of topics that are related to improving your business. It is intended for Philippine entrepreneurs, but anybody can join. And I found the first several to be quite informative. So definitely that's one of the things on the calendar that might be interesting for you. If you are an entrepreneur and you're moving things forward, definitely get involved with the Global Chamber for the young global leader connections, but also just other connections within wherever you are or anywhere in the world. One of the kind of cool things is that you can just reach out and say, hey, I want to meet, healthcare companies in Israel. And lo and behold, we know healthcare companies in Israel. We can make those introductions. And so warm introductions are the way of the world, or at least that's our belief. And that in the next wave of globalization, the way to connect is through a network of people who know and trust each other. So let's know and trust each other and connect up with Maimun, and he can share more. Thank you again, Maimun, for putting this together. Very informative and very inspiring.
Thanks, Doug. I'd just like to take one last minute to thank some of our collaborators with this event. So with us, we had Global Chamber Dallas, Global Chamber Chittagong, and Global Chamber Bartisal collaborating. Our newspaper partner was the Financial Express. Our magazine partner is ICE Business Times. Our impact partner was Impact Hub Dhaka, and our outreach partner was Youth Opportunities. More importantly, I'd love to thank my team of MTOs and my interns who've done a stellar job in the next 14 days to pull this event up. So, and of course to HQ for the amazing support and everybody else who came in today. The other EDs, Christopher, and Ruby, all of you, excellent. Doug, over to you to conclude it on the top of the hour.
Thanks again. Want to again thank you for attending today and stay engaged. The key issue that I see every day around the world of why people fail is that they don't stay engaged. You become too busy, and I mentioned earlier about the word try. I'm going to try to do something, which I don't like at all. The other thing that I don't like is, oh, I was too busy for this. I'm too busy for that. It's not that you're too busy. You've selected something more important. That can be okay. If you have focus in your life and what you're doing, focus in on what's important. For many people, hanging around with people who know what they're doing should be a focus. And so I strongly recommend talking to Maimun and others within the global tribe, to connect regularly and prioritize so that the busyness becomes focus. So again, Maimun, thank you so much for this event, and thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your day or evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.